Hello everybody, welcome back to another New World video. Today is going to be my PvP video. I've been wanting to do some PvP videos for a little while. As I've said on a few of my other videos, on a low pop server at the moment, so there's not like a load of PvP activity, which is kind of sad because I'm mainly a PvP player. But today we're going to go over a few duels that we're going to talk over, we're going to comment over, and then we're also going to be talking about the build. We're going to get into the build first, and then the combat's going to come later. Okay, so of course, we're running the Rapier and the Firestaff. Let's start off with the old skills. I'm going to try and go over this fairly fast, because you're more than welcome to just, copy the build yourself. You can obviously read a few of them, what they do. Maybe you want to change it out for something else. But we're going to go over the basics here today. So the three main abilities you're going to want on the Firestaff. Burnout. Burnout is one of those ones that pretty much isn't. If you're running Rapier and Firestaff, you want Insyn and you want Burnout. Those two are like really quite critical. Fireball is, arguably you can go for a different one, but these are the main ones that work out for me. We got Burnout, Fireball, and Incinerate. Okay. The passive stats that we're going to be choosing is Fiery Restoration, Clear Mind, Singe, Clear Casting, Spell Slinger, Prophet of the Fire God, Pyromania, Let It Burn, Kindle, Watch It Burn, Combat Speed, and then obviously maxing out Insyn and Burnout. You can leave Fireball without these two passives just because what's giving you Fireball Burning Field lasts for 9 seconds, and if you hit a fireball directly, you get 10% of your max mana back. You're not burning too much mana anyway in PvP, so especially not in 1v1s, right? Because the fight is over before that tends to happen anyway. So, yeah, negligible. You don't really need to grab those ones. I suppose you could if you wanted to. Now, what I tend to do is I tend to get rid of I tend to get rid of combat speed and go for flare when I'm like running a bit more PvE content, just because it makes the heavy attack no longer consume mana, and that way you literally never have to worry about your mana burn. Then you will keep being able to do damage regardless of whether or not your mana is at 100 or 0. So that's something important to grab. Next over, we're going over to the Rapier. With the Rapier, we are using Riposte, Flesh or Flashe. I like to say Flashe because it's fancy, and Flurry. A lot of people use Evade, and in most cases, I probably would suggest that you go Evade because, one, you're getting invulnerability whilst you're using it. I think it's another iframe, and yeah, another dodge is never a bad thing, right? The reason that I'm running Flurry is just because on the legs here that I've got Leeching Flurry, which lets me gain some health back when I use it. So I run Flurry personally just for that reason, just so I can get the extra health back. The extra health. That's all we're wanting, really. The passives, we're looking at Refreshing Strike, On Guard, Light Edge, Desperation, and Swiftness. And again, if you wanted to run Evade, same points in Flurry, so you would just take out all these and replace them with the full Evade anyway. That's the basic skills. Now let's talk stats. Let's talk attributes. So you can see here that my gear is a little squiffed because I got 30 strength out of nowhere. It's like, where's that 30 strength coming from? I've got the strength on my top and my trousers or pants or whatever, my leg wear. And the only reason I'm wearing it is because they both give Resilient. I get Leeching Flurry on this one, and I really wanted the Resilient on the other one because crit damage is just, you're a little bit spongy as this sort of hybrid mage melee build. You are a little bit spongy, but we'll go over that. You're going to be wanting to run 300 in, 150 cons. That is my suggestion. You can swap out, depending on what you want, you can fine-tune that a little bit, because you could run 100 cons and 50 dex, and then you would get your 5% bonus in criticals from that, and your rapier damage would go up pretty exponentially with just an extra 50 points. You'd get it probably on par with the same damage as the my rapier's at 848 right now. Firestaff's at 996. You'd probably get that up to about 996 with the 50 points, or at least close to anyway. So yeah, that is what you're wanting to run. You can switch it out, but personally, you know, I run medium. Medium, you really always want to be running medium because the 3 iframes, the 3 dodges you get, light armor will only ever give you 2 dodges, well, unless you're max dex, in which case it will give you actually another dodge. I think, there we go, dodge costs 10 less stamina. So you can actually get 3 light roll dodges, but obviously we're not going to be investing that heavily into dexterity, so medium is the best choice for this reason. You're going to want to be having a heavy head, heavy chest, medium gloves, light legs, medium feetwear for that absolute max weight limit that you can get there, right on that 22.9 pound limit. So you can get the most armor you can possibly get. Because when you're at this 100 mark of cons, you get an increased max health by 10% based on your physical armor, right? So you want to be as heavy as you can be while still having that movement, right? That's the super important thing. So there we go. We've gone over the basics of the build. You know, some additional things, to add there. Obviously, because we're a little bit squishy and more cons is always good, right? You can get food that will help you with these sort of things. Like, so if I just take this food that will give me 20 cons, I take that, I go from 9k health to 9.5k health. Now you can see that we've got the bonus. You can get a stronger piece of food that will give you 30 cons, in which case it would get me to 150, which is kind of where I wanted to be. And so that's something to keep an eye out for, right? These things are going to make you stronger. They'll make you last longer in fights, and that's always a good thing. So look out for the ones that you want. Maybe you're running glass cannon, and you're wanting to go like 350 dex plus dex food, right? To get to like 400 dex, intelligence. 350 intelligence, and then you eat some food, or 360 intelligence, and then you buff it up to 400, right? You're trying to like make a complete full-out glass cannon. And you can do that, right? But whatever food you might need to help support you, constitution food is always a good thing. So that's always something to stockpile up on and think about. All right? Okay. Gems. Now, with the Firestaff, I'm running the Opal. Obviously, the max rank Opal. That's going to give you 50% damage while your stamina is not full. You're always dodging. That's sort of the whole point. I'm going to show you some duels now shortly. But, you know, this whole build's thing is movement, right? You are moving all the time. Your stamina is never full. So an opal never goes wrong, right? You can never go wrong with an opal. I've seen people use opals on their rapiers. The only reason I'm not using an opal in the rapier at this moment is because, obviously, the secondary stat to rapier is intelligence, and if you're using the damage scaling and put in a gem that will scale off your intelligence, you're getting more bonuses out of intelligence, right? Which is kind of what we want here, and that's kind of important. But you can swap it for any gem you see fit, really. Do you know what I mean? Like the gems are really a personal type of thing. But me personally, I run the arcane gem in it, so we've got 50% converted damage to arcana, or arcane I should say. Damage scales off a base weapon stat or int, whichever is higher, which in our case is definitely int. Now you can run full onyxes, not a problem with that at all. You can definitely run full onyxes and you would be none the wiser. Like, you would that's a perfectly adequate thing to do. The only reason I've got a couple of diamonds in here, and I'm actually going to be making my chest diamond too, because it's only currently the rank 3 onyx, and I'm not wanting a rank 4 diamond in there. I'm just running diamonds as well because, you know, when you're in a situation where you're 1v1ing another mage, the extra elemental resistance goes a long way, right? Of course, onyxes are great. You know, you're only really losing out on 0.5%, really, 0.5% physical resistance. You're only missing out on 0.5% physical resistance also. Like, you get 1.9 physical from that one, from a diamond, and you get 2.5 from So yeah, really 0.6. You're missing out on 0.6 physical damage, which is good considering you're getting that little bit of element. So of course, you know, you're going to be wanting to use your flash, keep your distance or your flashe. You know, you're going to be wanting to be kiting your enemy. That's sort of the whole point with this sort of build. Your burnout is there to run through, again, grab some more distance. You're fireballing. The reason the incinerate, you run incinerate, is because a rapier will go from a riposte to an incin in a perfect amount of time. You'll get the stun for 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds, or whatever it is, and that's just enough time to pull out your weapon and blast off an incinerate. And obviously, incinerate in its max upgrade gives you the ability to hit it twice with the incin. And I make sure I run Keen personally. I got Keen on my ring. I've got Vicious on my staff. And obviously the ability in the Firestaff, which is Spellslinger. Your Firestaff abilities gain a 10% chance to critical strike. I'm getting a 20% chance to critical strike. 1 in 5 times I'm going to crit just off of those 2 perks alone. With an incin that hits twice, which is a chance to crit twice, which can do absolutely ridiculous damage. So that's sort of the highlight, the overview of the build. Now we're going to watch some duels, guys. I do hope you enjoy. I'm going to be talking a little bit over the commentary about, you know, how I'm playing it, but I'm only going to do that for a duel, and then I'm going to let a few other duels run. And yeah, so guys, thank you very much for watching. Enjoy the duel. I'll see you in the next New World video. Hey guys, I'm recording this a few days later, and unfortunately I've got a bit of a cold, so apologies for that. But anyway, let's kick off with the first duel. We've got a countdown timer here, bang. Let's the action begin. Duel in Sylv. Sylv's a good friend, so thank you, Sylv, for giving me a few duels here. We're doing light attacks. We're just trying to keep the distance here. Sylvana gets a reap, goes for another attack. I'm able to riposte and incinerate. That's why we grab incinerate. I flash out there, get the distance, do some more light attacks. She charges, recovers the distance, and I'm using burnout to get the distance back again. After this, it's light attacks. Her invulnerability for 3 seconds off the hatchet comes, but that's okay because we managed to get the riposte and finish with the incinerate. And that is a basic of how these duels are going to go, right? I'm going to show another duel again against Sylvana here where she wrecks me, and we're going to talk about what we could do differently and how we can improve ourselves. So we got the next duel up here, guys. Guess what? You're going to be starting same as always. Few light attacks, chip away. Sylvana's charging in. I flashe, but unfortunately I do it straight into her and she stuns me. I think trading the incin for a few hits is a good idea here. Unfortunately, it's not. Her hatchet absolutely rips through me. I'm trying to back off here. I use burnout to try and recover some distance, give myself a bit more time. I'm chipping away. I think here might be a good idea to pull out the rapier and go for another riposte. I get it. Get the incin. It's looking good. I try to back up. I should have been flasheing 3,000 years ago, but unfortunately I just don't. I just don't do it. I decide I think I can do it. I get a bit greedy, and but guess what? Heavy armor and hatchet is always going to win in close quarters like that. So that was my mistake. GG, Sylvana. What we could have done better is definitely just keeping the distance more, right? Making sure that we always have the space. We always have enough space where we feel comfortable. These cyclones that you can see just pulling us in. Any close quarter combat just is not doing us any favors right now. The rapier is for movement as well as utility, right? Stuns and more movement to get more distance for the Firestaff. Your Firestaff really is your main weapon here. That duel gets interfered, so, you know, it doesn't matter. But I'm going to quit with the commentary now, guys, and now we're just going to show a few duels against a few randoms, and we'll see how it goes. Thanks very much for watching the video, guys. Peace.